Welcome to the Antisocial Podcast, episode 9. Far out. It's all happening. Just to keep in theme with the last few episodes, this particular episode is not brought to you by The Prayer and the Other Songs of Faith, or as has been defaced, of Faithful Steel. So what this is, and I will take a photo because it's my description will not give it justice, but on my birthday this year, I went on a bit of a pub crawl around the sort of inner west area of Sydney. Lots of great pubs around the place, and so I got a crew of people, and for about 12 hours we went around a whole bunch of different pubs in the area, and people came and went as we went along. It was just a great day. We started at midday, and I think we wrapped it up about midnight that night. So it was a long day, and I certainly paid the price the next day. But a good friend of mine by the name of Dave Balfour, who I will eventually get on this podcast because I reckon we'll have a pretty good chat. He is a good friend and a local metal promoter in Sydney. Has been a part of the Sydney metal scene for quite a number of years, and has put on a lot of shows for us as Lord, and just a great guy. But he brought along a present for me, which was this record from an op shop that he's decided to deface. So it's actually it says The Lord's Prayer and Other Songs of Faith, the voice of Bill Newman, I think. Yeah, the voice of Bill Newman. So what he's done is he's covered up Lord's and he's put a Lord logo over the top. Instead of Other Songs of Faith, he's written Faithful Steel. He's instead of the voice of Bill Newman, he's written the voice of Andy Dowling. There's a picture of the three of us on the front of it, and there's a picture of me getting casual on the side of this church, and then on the back he's put a picture of my face on top of Mr. Newman's head, and then all the songs on the back he's defaced and changed to keep in theme with our band and myself. So I'll take a couple of photos and put this on my fake sponsors photo album on Facebook, so you can have a look. But some of the songs that are on here as of now, since Dave's had his hands on it, The Lord's Prayer for a Drummer. So if anyone knows our drumming challenges or struggles over the last couple of years, will definitely understand that reference. Bless This House with Beer, Beyond the Sunset We Tour, Count Your Blessings We Are Still Together, Just for Today I Drink, I'll Walk with God and Play with LT, Nearer My God to Thee After a Beer or Three. There's The Lord Is My Shepherd, which is just all been crossed out, and it just says insert Farnham cover instead, and then How Great Thou Art, and in brackets Andy's theme. So very witty present, very, very cool, and probably one of my more cherished birthday presents that I've ever received. So thanks to Dave for that, and this episode's brought to you by this shocking record, and I'll take some photos and put them up online for you guys to have a laugh at. So this is episode 9. I hope you guys have all been enjoying the episodes. I guess there must be some form of enjoyment given that you're still listening to it now. And if you are listening for the first time, then welcome. I hope that you will not only listen to this episode, but continue to listen to future episodes. And when you have a chance, go back and listen to some of the previous ones as well. There's been quite a few cool people that have been featured on the show so far, and lots more to come. So I do thank you for that. Today's particular guest is a guy by the name of Ricky Pfieffer. Ricky's from Hobart in Tasmania. For those who are not from Australia, Tasmania is that little blob right down at the bottom of our country that's separated from the mainland, and depending on which map you look at, sometimes it's completely disregarded altogether. So there's a lot of Tasmanian jokes and whatnot, but I won't get into all that. But Tassie is a place that we've played in quite a number of times. It's been a while since we've been back there for various reasons, but a great part of the world to go, and I encourage anybody who's never been to Tasmania before to go there if the opportunity presents itself. It's It's a really cool part of the world. It's a very beautiful island. Very small, easy to get from one side to the other. A lot of national parks and just a lot of great history there as well. It's a fantastic part of the country and part of the world. I sort of came in contact with Ricky through a Tasmanian band called Tabra, who I've known for quite a few years, and they had some promotional photos that were done by Ricky, and Ricky does a lot of band photography and is sort of associated with a lot of the local music scene there. And I just found him online, been connected very loosely that way, and I've been keeping an eye on the things that he's been posting, and a lot of interesting things that he links people to and talks about, and a lot of it will be explained in this particular episode. But I thought it would be a great opportunity to have a chat to him and really meet him in this particular way and talk about a lot of things that probably a lot of people don't normally talk about. I'll let Ricky sort of explain it all, but Ricky's had a very eventful past, and he's had a couple of things go along the way that haven't quite gone to plan, and he's had some struggles and a lot of challenges that he has, and to his credit, he's been able to turn a lot of those negatives around into positives, and he's doing a lot of great things for other people, and that'll all be touched on in the episode. This is just something, I think, for people that suffer from any sort of mental illness, especially just depression, which is a lot more common than what people think. And it's only been sort of recently, and it continues to go in a positive direction where it's more acknowledged as a legitimate, health issue. We're more fixated on the physical problems from a health perspective than the mental. Mental's always just been brushed aside over the years, and it's good that it's being brought into a more constructive light where people are taking it seriously and looking at ways to help people that are suffering from any sort of mental illness. And Ricky's doing a lot of great things for people that are suffering through all sorts of inner demons, so to speak. And I think for anyone who does suffer from depression or any sort of mental illness, this is probably a really cool episode to listen to, get a different perspective, and hopefully be able to relate to some of the things that Ricky talks about. And there'll be a bunch of links that I'll put in the show notes for you to check out. A lot of cool things that he's associating himself with, and by all means, please get in contact with him and chat to him. He makes a mention of it in the episode. He's very much about helping other people and spreading that positive sort of feeling to other people and giving them support, because he certainly knows firsthand what it's like to be in that situation. Hopefully you get something out of it, no doubt. And I'd be very surprised if you don't, that you would know of somebody and you'll be able to just get a little bit of insight and some understanding. And maybe next time that the topic does arise with a loved one or somebody that passes you in your travels, that you're able to take a bit more of a step back and get a little bit more of an understanding from their point of view of what they're going through, and give people a little bit more patience and understanding. And a lot of these people are just they're after support, but in a particular way, and it's all about getting an understanding and some respect for the challenges that people have. And for one person, there might be a particular problem which is consuming them, but that same problem for someone else might not mean anything whatsoever. Everyone's got their challenges and their concerns, and we need to be sort of mindful that everyone's got these things, and we need to be able to help where we can. But anyway, I'm going off on a tangent and just rambling on. But hope you enjoy it. I'll give you some more information at the end of the episode. And this is Ricky Pfieffer.
Good, mate.
Hey, how you going?
Good.
All right, now let's see. I'm still getting used to this whole Skype business, so bear with me a moment, because I can see you, but where the hell am I?
All I've got is a still. You playing bass there, man, carving it.
Carving it up. It's probably a better look than the video. Let's see.
I should have put a freaking poster behind me. You got to set it up like they do in America, green screen and all that shit.
You can have a skyline behind you.
Yeah.
That's all right. This is just going to be audio anyway.
Yeah, no worries.
I think the most intriguing thing I've got to ask straight off the bat is Cookie.
Yeah.
Where's the nickname come from?
Basically, when I joined the Army in 88, and I wasn't qualified. So I basically just got out of rookies, no qualifications, and there was a bloody big Army camp, if you like, on and they said, "Oh shit, you haven't got a license to drive. Our cook's not here. Guess what? Can you do the cooking for us?" And I said, "Yeah, no worries, not a problem." And they said, "No, we want you to stay the cook now because you're actually better than our bloody qualified cook." So I basically just cooked for a squadron, which is about 120 people, for around about 3-4 weeks, and that's where the cookie comes from.
And it just stuck ever since.
Only for a period of time, because I soon got rid of that nickname in the army. But it was good. It was a bit of shits and giggles.
Well, with the explanation, all I'm thinking is, what was his name? I'm pretty sure it was Cookie on. Was it A Country Practice? I think.
Or, was a rat.
And he was the pub chef or something like that. I'm pretty sure. So that's all I thought of when you told me that story.
You want some bangers and mash and a bit of dead horse on that?
Well, there you go. So that makes a bit more sense then. It's because I thought, Cookie just doesn't really go with every vision that I've got of you that I see online and the pictures and everything like that. I thought, Cookie just doesn't quite match up. Yeah.
Don't fuck with the cook.
That fits in a bit better then. I guess the way that I sort of indirectly know you is through the band photography.
Yep, that's it.
And I think potentially it may have been the photo shoot that you did with Tabra, the Tassie band, and I was quite blown away with those photos. And I think from there, I think either I sent you a friend request or vice versa, but probably me, because I'm a bit of a social networking whore or stalker. Yeah, that's it.
It's all good. Look, it's like Andy. Look, I noticed you're very proactive with what you're trying to do up in Sydney with the bands and just the music industry in general. And that impressed me with what you're doing. So I was pretty much reciprocating that and just checking out. This is because anyone who's proactive in the industry, I think, big kudos all around. Because you're basically trying to help the industry, not just yourself.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, it comes back as soon as you start helping other people. It comes back tenfold anyway.
Absolutely,
yeah. And we've always had, probably up until the last couple of visits, just due to saturation, but Tassie's always been a great place for us to play and some great memories, especially the first few visits and playing the first few shows with Tabra when they were all 16 years old and very green, and they've certainly come a long way since then. And I've always just been about sort of connecting with as many people that are linked in with the industry one way or the other, whether it's just the local scene or further up the chain. And I'm always impressed with band photography because I attempted it really early in the piece before I started doing the whole music thing, and I failed miserably. And this was before the digital cameras started kicking in, so I was really sort of thinking about my shutter speed and aperture and whatnot, and then I'd get to the rabbit photo or whatever and get them printed and then just cry because none of them turned out. So
that's where I started. I started photography in around about 86, 88 when I was a young chap, because I'm that old, you see. And and I literally was doing weddings, with film and sporting events and all this sort of stuff. And as you actually don't have that ability like you do now digital to actually, you have to nail the shot. Film. You've got to know. You've got to know what you're doing with your camera and the bloody lighting you do or do not have, and you've got to get it. And that's where my training really come from.
And I think, especially now, a lot of these new cameras that are out in the market, you can chuck it on an auto setting and you can get a pretty damn good shot. But even if it's not the crash shot, you can just delete it straight away and take another one. Or you can take 50 million shots and then go back later and delete 3/4 of them.
Sure.
But you can definitely tell, even with sort of the digital age now, you can tell the difference between somebody who understands how a camera works and the photography skill behind it versus somebody who chucks it on an auto setting and takes photos. Yeah. So there's definitely a difference.
Yeah, I call it P for professional. That's what I call it. And that's just taking a piss.
Yeah. Well, look, I was really impressed with the shots that you did for Tabra, and obviously since then I've seen a lot more of the stuff that you've done. But it was definitely enough for me to reach out and connect and just have that link there. And I'm always, as I said, photography is something that I was always interested in, especially earlier on in the piece, and I've always been a little bit bitter about it because I just sort of threw in the towel and stuff this, all these guys with their digital cameras, and then I went off and did something else. Yep. But hopefully I'll come full circle eventually, and I'll dust off the old SLR and get out there and learn it all over again.
That's the thing. It's like any art form. You've got to just keep practicing to master it. And that's what it is. It literally does take practice, but there's also people who are naturally gifted and just smash it.
Oh yeah, that's
like
it.
You get the guy.
Yeah.
Or musos, they just get out there and they just play, and they're just, they're naturals.
I know a few of them, unfortunately, and it sucks because I don't even class myself as a musician. I just get away with it, and there's a lot of guys who just waltz in and pick up a guitar or drumsticks or whatever, and they're naturally talented, and you can't fault them for it. But geez, you get a bit jealous or envious at times. So it's definitely a bit of a struggle at times when you work on your craft.
Yeah, look, for sure, totally get that. Yeah, so look, I haven't touched a camera since October last year.
Okay.
I basically, I've been, we've spoken on a few times, I've been struggling with my own demons, if you like, and that's, depression. I've had that on and off for the last 20 years, I think. And when I'm out in the public, I generally just put a mask on and just sort of try to suck it up and deal with it. But there are times when you can't. And also PTSD's kicked in, and anxiety, which I started to tackle the PTSD side, especially October. That's when I literally put the camera away so I could. Cause I didn't lose the passion, but I lost. I don't know. I think the PTSD just took over, and I just was too. I'd get anxious, and I'd go to take a photo, or just go to a gig locally, and I just didn't have it in me. I couldn't do it, and that sucks you. That sucks you dry, and it's a horrible feeling. And a lot of creatives tend to go through that cycle in life. It's whether it's anxiety or depression, I'm not sure, but they have moments where they just struggle.
Well, it's like I definitely can't relate to the level that you've been going through, but I definitely know that I think from a general sense, life's definitely in waves, and for something that you've obviously clearly had a passion for, and I assume still do, but other things have jumped in the foreground for the time being, and you'll come full circle and go back to it.
Look, absolutely, yeah. Also, because I shoot very impromptu, I don't plan any photo shoot, whether it's a model, whether it's a commercial shoot. I literally just rock up, have a look at everything, the situation, lighting or whatever, and shoot from my instinct, from my gut, all instinctive. I don't generally use flash when I do band photography. I use the lighting that's on stage, and in a lot of pubs that's really shit. Like really crap. Like the lights in the toilets are better.
I can relate.
But that's half the challenge. I suppose I call it chasing the light.
Yeah. Indeed.
And look, it adds atmosphere, and you get like a dark image with just enough light on a face or an instrument or something like that, and it just kicks ass. If you nail it, it's awesome.
Definitely adds an element of satisfaction to it, especially if your conditions aren't crash hot and you can still pull off a great shot. It definitely makes it more worthwhile.
Look, absolutely, and all the dudes out there and the girls that photograph live music, they all struggle with that. And and the key is to develop your own style with photography, your own look, your own feel, and then be known for that look and that feel. So someone can, if you haven't got a watermark on your image, someone can look at your photo and go, "Damn you, I know that image. That's by such and such." And that's what I tend to go for. I sort of do a real grungy sort of image. Nothing's perfect about it, and I don't like that. I'm not a technical photographer. I just again, go off my instincts, get what I want, and then grunge it up, make it look, grungy. Yeah,
well, I guess I think for somebody looking at a photo like that, you'd definitely be able to feel a lot more of the energy from the room or where that photo was taken. You're going to get a lot more. I think if something's too polished or too perfect, you lose a lot of that energy or that raw emotion that's trying to come through.
Yeah, you do. Hang on, sorry, I just got a bloody text from Mr. Barwick.
Tell him to piss off.
John,
what's he want?
John, when you hear this.
I've got him on my list as well, but I'm going to leave it a while. I'll let him sit there and wait. Yeah. I've got more important people to talk to first.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. The people at the point end of the stick. Sorry.
Well, look. No, stuff him. He'll be fine. He's got thick skin. Well, look, you brought up before, and I was going to leave it a little bit, but it's definitely a bit of a segue in with the army and PTSD, and you said like about October last year, it sort of became a bit, I guess, more of a clear thing that you were able to acknowledge, I assume, and start dealing with. And I've been watching a lot of the posts that you've been putting up, and it seems to be, well, it's obviously close to you because you go through it, but you're definitely finding ways to channel that energy to help other people as well and bring awareness.
That's the thing. Like with myself, I like I said before, I pretty much stuffed it down inside my body. You know, I stuffed it in for 20 years and sucked it up. Like my PTSD comes back from '95, where I lost someone under my command in the system. They basically died because of a road accident in peacetime. Okay. So you know, and that basically with PTSD, sort of it doesn't sort of, you don't know you've got it straight away. Like you feel remorseful for what's happened, you feel shook up, all that sort of stuff, the normal reactions. And then you go along in life, and all of a sudden, it's the most bizarre thing. You either all of a sudden you get a kick in the guts, or something just flicks a switch, and all of a sudden you are just hit around the head like a baseball bat of that experience, and it's like a video, a CD, a DVD, a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Sorry about the video there. Playing the whole thing over and over and over again, and that doesn't really go away.
Yeah.
And it just happens, 10 years, 15 years after the event. So in October, I decided to man up, I suppose, and admit I've got it, and seek help with through psychologists and so on, meds. And to do that, I had to stop everything I was doing, because I have my fingers in a lot of pies. I like to consider myself an entrepreneur, and I try a lot of things, and I continue to do so. But I had to slow it all down so I could help with my mental illness. Otherwise, I cope with that. I ride a bike, and that's part of my therapy, just to get out there in the in the open world and get loose.
Right. It must have been obviously, as you said, it was a long time coming, but it must have been a hell of a moment to get yourself over that hill, so to speak, to be able to reach out and just say, look, I've got to do something about this now, and try and help myself get a bit better and try and move along with everything in life.
Look, as a guy, it's really tough. You're always sort of, nah, shit, this is nothing. I can beat this. Man up. Here's a cup of concrete, princess. Bloody, toughen up. All those sort of things come to mind. But I've sort of opened up my life publicly, online, social media especially. And the reason I've done that is to actually, one, help myself on my journey of recovery, but also help other people. And it's not necessarily veterans that have been in any military or anything like that, but it's anyone that's had trauma. It could be a road accident, it could be a beating, anything that can actually give a person PTSD. So other people that have got it, they may not realise it, or they do, but they don't know who to speak to or don't know where to go. It's to try and get them thinking and talking, either amongst themselves, with their partner, with their friends, whoever, to try and sort of get on top of it. Don't let it beat them.
It must be a good way of helping you heal as well, by being able to give other people an opportunity to be able to help themselves as well, by being open about everything.
Look, mate, it really is. And that's part of the journey. Like you got to be careful on social media, because you don't want to be seen like you're frigging being a bitch and squealing and crying and all sort of stuff.
I've got plenty of them on my Facebook page, that's for sure. Every day I keep pressing that unfollow button all the time.
Exactly. So you sort of got to. You literally are walking a line of not being a whiny bitch, but at the same time, it's such a delicate line.
Yeah.
You sort of got to keep it. Look, I think I'm a positive person, even though the demons kicked me in the guts and knocked me down and all this stuff. It's all about getting back up again. They are saying it doesn't matter how many times you fall up; it's about how many times you get back up.
Yeah.
That's that goes with anything in life. Friggin', you try to do a record deal with you guys in the industry, and you get bloody publicists. No. You just got to keep friggin' going.
Yeah.
Until it happens.
Absolutely. It's a struggle, but I think the continuation of the journey is the main thing, and as soon as you stop, that's when everything starts to pile up, metaphorically or literally.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing, and sometimes people don't even realize that they've stopped until things have well and truly become overwhelming, and then they have to try and get themselves out of that hole, so to speak.
Absolutely, and it's when like I want to try and keep this upbeat, to sort of.
That's all right. We'll go in a different direction soonish.
Meanwhile, from our sponsors, I've lost my track now.
No, you're right. It's I think the biggest thing that I noticed just looking at a lot of your posts, and I looked at the Mates for Mates page as well, which I'll get you a touch on in a sec.
Sure.
And a big thing that I'm starting to learn as well with, just continuing to grow up as we all continue to do and learn as we go, that you've really got to be an open book to a certain extent, and you've got to be not so much open as far as revealing your private life all the time, but being open to be able to show people how you feel, and being open so people have the opportunity to know that they can come to you for help if they need it, or even just some sort of reassurance or whatnot. And I think the way that you've even articulated some of your posts and on this Mates for Mates page as well, it's you definitely put yourself out there, and straight away as soon as I read it, I'm extremely fortunate that I haven't gone through anything like this before, but to be able to read it instantly, I felt, I've got that warm feeling. I go, you know what, this is a really genuine person and very, good-natured and kind. And then suddenly you already feel like you can approach that person and have a conversation regardless of whatever the topic is. So it was just a thing straight away that definitely gravitated me towards reaching out and getting this podcast thing happening.
Cool. Hey, don't let what I say for you. I'm a cook, okay? So I'm badass. So, just let's get that straight off now, okay?
I won't be misled too much then.
But look, I am careful what I write. I write from the heart. Sometimes I have huge dummy spits and I friggin' type in a heap of shit, and then I read it. And then I'm like, that's hardcore. I've got to delete the whole lot because that's going to just, I'm going to end up in jail or somewhere, not in a good place.
There's a lot of people like that.
Well, I honestly am not a very politically correct person generally. And I sort of, at the same time, I don't give a fuck who I upset or who I offend. That's not my problem. That's theirs. If they're fucking pussy about certain things, then, hey, not my problem. However, when I become involved with an organisation like Mates for Mates, which is, they basically primarily help veterans currently serving ex-military and their family. Now, they help them in ways of my psychologist, for instance, who I see. She's part of that organisation. Now, so I see her just to keep on track and all that sort of stuff. Now, they also have other programs like on Sunday, I'm actually going to Melbourne and I'm spending a week over there with horses doing equine therapy.
I was going to ask you about that because I had heard of it before, but I looked it up again just to double check, and it seemed it's very different.
Look, I'm going over there with no expectations. Like the psych said to me, "What do you expect?" I said, "Well, I want to be a cowboy. That's what I expect." Freaking hey. Man, I've got the boots, I've got the hat, and I want a cowboy up. And I was taking the piss. I'm very tongue-in-cheek, and if I had the opportunity to take the piss, I'd do it every time. And you got to be, that's life, man. You got to friggin' try and enjoy it. It's even when shit's bad, you sort of got to see the funny side in things.
That's it, absolutely.
That helps.
Are you able to just explain a little bit about what this therapy is? Because I initially, the only reason I knew a little bit about it was because I'd seen it mentioned somewhere else, but the word itself even threw me. I had to look up the word to see what it meant.
What therapy?
So,
equine.
Yeah, equity. Yeah, still learning about the therapy side of things. No, but
Are you comfortable?
Sorry, am I comfortable? Yeah, I am. Yeah, let it rip. Go.
So when did all this begin?
What?
The therapy.
Oh, the therapy.
Sorry.
I'm a bit slow today.
I'll slow that down a bit for you. Well, look, my understanding when I first found out about it and was asked if I'd like to be a part of it was I went and YouTubed equine therapy, and US Marines are using it a lot, and they're getting a lot of good results with it helps people who are disconnected. With PTSD, anxiety, and depression, you tend to sort of disconnect from people you care about, people you don't, even people you don't know. You just sort of don't want to be around anyone because, I don't know, it's hard to, it's really hard to nail and hard to explain. And you even don't understand why it is. You don't, like, I have days where I can't leave my house because I don't know why. And it's bloody weird. It's really bizarre. Now, this equine therapy, what it does, it helps you to reconnect via an animal. So therefore, what happens, you, generally speaking, I haven't really nutted it all down yet, the horse actually picks you. Then from then on, I don't know how it all bloody works. It must be friggin' cow piss on you. I don't really know. Or you roll around in horse shit. I haven't got a clue how that works. I'll let you know and get back to you on that one.
Yeah, it sounds, I mean, there's a lot of alternative therapies out there. And I guess, as you said, I mean, the biggest thing of it is finding connection again. And I guess it's probably like a form of meditation in a way. It just brings you back to yourself grounding. And gets you connected back to grounding. Absolutely. And I think I can only attempt to relate, but maybe a good example could be how a lot of people, and I'm definitely one of these people that get into autopilot on a daily basis. Yep. So you get up, you got your routine in place, you jump in the car, you get to your destination to work or whatever it is, and then you realise, how the hell did I get here?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even remember the drive, and you're just in autopilot. And then sometimes you just get through the entire day and you don't even know what you did that day. Yeah. You don't know what conversations you had. You're just constantly just in autopilot. And I assume that's probably on a very small scale as far as comparison goes, but having that disconnection with just reality and not having that grounded presence is probably a little bit of a correlation there.
It is. Look, I'll touch back on that if you remind me. Just jot that down because I will forget. Look, I've got a good memory. It's just friggin' short.
That's all right. Not a problem.
And I'll just keep going with the therapy of the equine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this animal chooses you, and then you therefore look after that animal. You muck out a stable, you brush it, etc., and walk it around in the corral. And by taking the focus off of yourself with your own issues, problems, etc., you've given the care of this animal, and therefore that's where the connection starts happening, and those special moments, where you think, geez, this is pretty awesome, or I don't really know. Yeah. I've been dragged by horses. I've been bucked off horses when I was a teenager. So I've had some pretty cool times on them. That's serious.
So it sounds like this is going to be a different experience altogether.
Look, absolutely. There's you don't have to ride a horse for the whole thing. So it's all about, if you want, at the end of the therapy session, which is 5 days and 5 nights, you can if you want, I believe. So it's all about reconnecting via the animal. We have, I think there are about 8 of us from all around Australia, 4 from Tassie, and I believe 4 from other parts of Australia are going to the Yarra Valley, it is, in Victoria. And we basically just, live in at the facility, dry camp, i.e. no alcohol, which a lot of the guys are a bit pissed about. But that's part of the therapy, because a lot of the veterans are alcoholics. That's their coping mechanism of dealing with whatever they've got, whether it's an injury or a mental illness. They turn to booze. My coping mechanism is gaming. I'm an online gamer, pretty hardcore at times, and bike riding, motorbike riding.
It's a bit of a distraction, I guess.
And that is exactly, it's all about your sort of, if you can't deal with what you're going through, you use avoidance. It's like anything, shit, I've got to do the washing up, but you know what? I want to watch this movie, I want to listen to this freaking new CD, or I want to watch this, this Lord freaking Australia tour of 2015 in Melbourne, etc. Later here, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I like how you roll, man.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
It's a pity.
No shame. Oh, look, I've got no shame. That's for sure. You've got to dive in. Yeah, you get one shot.
In the nude.
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Maybe I'll take that comment back. Maybe I've got a little bit of shame. Just enough. Yeah. A healthy amount.
Do they know about that tattoo on your nipple?
They will soon. So you'll be off for a week then.
Yeah.
I'll be very curious to hear how it goes and what the experience is like. It definitely sounds. I think for anybody, regardless of what they're going through, is probably quite a beneficial thing. I think any sort of retreat, to be able to just get away from the everyday grind and and everything that we go through, and as I said before, the whole autopilot thing, just having an opportunity just to completely disconnect from the everyday stuff that we go through, good and bad, and just have a bit of space.
Life in general, because look, you sort of go, and I was discussing this today earlier on, because I'm working on something else later on, a little project on the side, all about, I suppose, that work-life balance. And if you're employed, you're working your ass off to achieve goals that you've got for yourself in life, or just to bloody pay bills, whichever it may be. And you sort of just, all of a sudden, a year's gone, and you look back and go, where the hell did that go? I've been working, I've been, playing here and there, but I've just been working, man. It's freaking gone. The year's gone. And I'm trying, like, I learned a long time ago about having a work-life balance, because I struggle to actually work for people. I'm a bit pig-headed, I'm a little bit stubborn, and I'm also, I think outside the box a lot. I work for companies, and then I look at how they run things, and I think, well, that's not really efficient. If you do this, this, and this, you can save.
It doesn't always go down well.
You can save a shitload of money, and I've saved companies six figures, just by making changes and implementing changes and just doing things better. If they're not frigging open to that, then I'm out of here.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's I've definitely seen it. There's the old model of working for time and not your output. So you could work an 8-hour day, but really the amount of work that you're paid to do, you could probably do in about 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours, if you without distraction. And a lot of people now are trying to get that work-life balance happening and be able to work from home at least a couple of days a week, just to be able to balance that out a lot more, because half the time you can just sit at work pretending to work, and you're getting paid until it hits 5 o'clock or whatever it is, and you go home and you realise you've wasted half the day. You do
a bit of a paper shuffle, a bit of a instant.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Is it my clipboard looking good, so full of paperwork?
That's it, and it's but it's an old model, and it's just a lot of generations have been going through it, and it's just people just do it because that's just the way it is. And I think I've definitely noticed it. Maybe it's just because I've been thinking about it a lot more, but I see a lot more people pushing for that balance now more so than ever before. And I think the days of your office jobs will be limited. I think there won't be, at least for the next couple of generations, there won't be the typical office scenario or environment as it is at the moment, or as it has been.
Well, that's the thing. You look, it doesn't matter what you do. If you're in that blue-collar environment, for instance, and you telecommute, you get to work and you're in your office, as you say, you can do that shit at home. If so long as you can VPN into your network at work and use their systems, whatever, you can do that stuff at home, and you tend to be 80% productive with 20% of your day.
That's it, 80-20 rule. Yeah,
and that's exactly how it works. I've worked in many industries prior to being in the army and doing photography. I worked in IT. I've worked in sales and marketing. And business management and all that sort of stuff. So I've had fun learning all those different industries and combining them all, if you like. And I still, like, one of my plans is to get into, and part of my journey with mental illness, and as you said before, the way I crap on, and I use that term loosely, is to help give people the feeling, like you said you got, that, I could open up to this dude. Don't know him from Borough Soap, but I can actually warm to what he's saying, even if I don't understand it.
Absolutely.
And look, that's actually opened up dialogue with other people that I know about, their own, where they're at in life. And it's allowed me to actually make that difference, and I want to continue on with that. And Mates for Mates is one way I do it, with helping veterans, just like a support network for your peers. Also the bike club I'm a member of, which is a military brotherhood. They're all around Australia. Very similar thing. They support their peers, their veterans and partners, etc. Suicide prevention, all that sort of stuff. But what I want to also work on, and I'll be looking at it more so, is life coaching, mentoring, and business coaching. Okay. And that's to put my experience of running companies, running smaller businesses, and starting them up from nothing, just helping those people that are about to, take off and start their own ventures.
Give them a bit of a head start.
Absolutely, and that's, and you're good at what you do. And as you know, with any sort of a business, and it's a band is a business, and you're good at playing, but there's all this other stuff that goes on in the background there. You think, how are we going to do this? Shit, we've made money this year. How the hell do we do that? Stop it. So you've got to have all that in place so it works and it's not a freaking headache. So yes.
Well, it's definitely something that a lot of people shy away from it, and going back to like the old, office environment and, working for somebody else, and, especially, people who live in a household where generation after generation have just been your typical employee. You work your ass off for somebody else. You spend countless hours during the week just slaving away for. You're working for the weekend all the time, and usually by the weekend you get that drunk because you just need to let loose, and then you're hungover on Sunday, then you're back to work on Monday. It's just never-ending cycle for years on end.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I was just chatting about this morning. And it's bloody sad. I think it's sad. However, there are a minority, maybe, I don't know, it could be a majority of people that actually just are happy to do the 9 to 5 or the 7 day a week bloody 7 to 4 or whatever it may be, and just get the paycheck and not worry about anything else. And that's cool, horses for courses.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I definitely see there's more. I see a lot of people that I grew up with that have gone down that path, and initially my knee-jerk reaction was, they're kidding themselves and they're cutting themselves short or selling themselves short, I should say, the better term. But then you look at them and they're always happy and they're content with what they do, and you go, what? Really? I mean, in the end, if you're happy, you're happy, and it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. Yeah. It's as simple as that. But for me, I can't. I work for people. I've worked for people in the past, and I'm looking forward to making that change and getting paid for my output rather than the hours that are put in. So it's but a lot of people, I notice a lot more people are starting to gravitate towards that, which is good. I think it puts a lot more responsibility back on you. You get a lot more self-worth because you're answering to yourself, and you can see the fruits of your labor instead of it being filtered through several people within the business, and then you getting your paycheck at the end of it as a thank you.
Absolutely. And look, the only advice I can give to anyone out there doing that is what you've got, and through my own mistakes, what you've got to do is if you're on your own show, whatever it may be, you've got to get a team of professionals to cover your weak spot. Whatever your weak spot is, if it's the bookwork and the taxation, the marketing, get the right people to do that shit for you, and you'll be set. You'll be right. It's
definitely worth the investment. Even like on a slight example or comparison with this podcast that I'm doing, I procrastinated on this for months because I had to try and work out how the hell to do audio editing. I had to try and work out how to do a website. I had to try and work out how I was going to put everything together and try and get it uploaded to all these different sites and whatnot. And it got to the point where I was sitting on these same issues 3, 4, 5 months later. And so I decided, you know what, I need somebody else to come in. Mm-hmm. And I had a few people that were telling me, oh, man, it's just easy. Just do this. Here's a manual. Here's an online manual. Just read this and it's fine. And then I just glaze over straight away and I lose interest immediately and I find something better to do. So I started using all these different services and finding people who actually can do the job in a matter of minutes or hours. And suddenly the things that I've been sitting on for months on end, not moving at all, were getting done within a week. Yeah. And I was flying after that. Yeah, and I definitely take that advice with anything. Now, if I don't know how it works, I'll learn it in due course, but in the meantime, I'll get someone in who knows what they're doing, and then I can continue to learn it as I go. But get a professional in and get them helping you out. Yeah, well, I started a diploma last year because with mental illness, I always look. I love learning. I love learning new stuff. I love learning. If I don't know something, or if it's a weakness of mine, I actually try to conquer it. I try to conquer it by learning how to do it. And I'm not going to let this beat me. The only thing that does beat me is heights. Okay, yeah, all right.
Go figure. Like, freaking this chair's high, man. I'm telling you. Like, freaking. That's going to hurt when I fall down there. But that'd be a common fear, though, with a lot of people with heights anyway. But that's something that I think for a lot of people, you probably just don't really need to conquer unless it's totally consuming your life. And then it's like, well, you know what? I need to move past this and stop letting it control. It does, because you worry about what and it's you got to try not to worry about what you can't control. Yeah, and that applies to everything. Like, I can't control who the fuck's ringing me at the moment or doing whatever. And what's this? Oh, hey, bit of sexting, guys. Whoa, whoa. Can we just cut to an ad for a second? Here we go. Look at that. Oh, look. Just about you're the only one who can say this.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, it won't be video, just audio. I promise.
You're on YouTube as well. Well, no, actually, on that note, what you need to do is actually start doing video as well and chuck that shit on YouTube. And that's for anyone out there, like I told my mate about monetization on YouTube. He was riding motorbikes, dirt bikes, and he's crashing. All his mates are crashing, and this shit's good stuff. Right? I said, "Cuz, you got to freaking monetize it, man." And I showed him how to do it, and he was getting $100+ a month.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was making money from bloody these videos he already had up there. He only just monetized them, and he was pulling in some cash for them. And that's, it can be as easy as that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm definitely going to put the audio episodes up to start off with, just to have the YouTube channel there, and I'll monetize that. And then over time, once I get my head around technology in general, I'll start doing some video stuff as well. There's quite a few people that do it quite successfully from a podcast point of view with video, so it'll be something that I'll look at down the track. But it's definitely it's turning these things into a business. It's getting that passion there and turning the passion into something that you can live off.
Well, and that's the thing, and that's what you got to be able to do. And like when you and I first spoke about this the other day, and I thought, this is cool, man. I had a look at it, and I thought, yeah, that's wicked. Just generally chatting to other people out there, mates, peers, other band members, people in the industry from different levels of the industry. Bloody, it's good. You share stories, you have a bit of fun, chew the fat, you help people hopefully along the way, help yourself as well. By the way, people, this cup here, you can get these through Andy. These cups are bloody kick-ass. Andy will let you know where you can buy them from.
$50 a pop.
$50. It goes to show, like, I don't know if you know, did you see my belt buckles that I made?
Oh, I've seen a couple.
Yeah, I made a couple of Ned Kelly belt buckles I designed. Like, I can't draw for shit, so I had these really cake drawings, stick men and shit like that was Ned Kelly, and took it to my manufacturer who's local to me, and I said, hey, can you make these into a really cool item that doesn't look as shit as my picture? And and what, you see, and it was just an idea, just bang on a whim, it was a little side business that I still play around with. Like I've sold 1,000 belt buckles to a mining company in Africa.
Right, okay. That's very out of the ordinary, not to be expected.
Mining companies, large engineering and mining companies are mad about their belt buckles. They have all their mining machinery as a picture on their belt buckle, and they have their company, and they give it to all their employees like a gift. So it's sort of it's a big thing in the mining industry.
Okay, so there's definitely something to extend upon in that.
Lord belt buckles, how are they? They good, are they? No, Tabra wants some.
Oh, do they? Oh shit! I better get in there quick before then.
Just see me. I'll help you out.
Oh, thanks, mate. Well, no, that's it's exciting to know that there's just ways, I think, just to live outside the box in general, and you don't have to do things just because everybody else does something a particular way. And I think people, I keep going back to that autopilot thing. People are on autopilot for the majority of their lives, and you're working for your retirement, and half the time people don't even make it to their retirement, or they get there and their superannuation's disappeared, or they're incapacitated in some way and they can't even enjoy the money, and they look back and realise that they've wasted all those years.
They work the journey instead of enjoy it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Look, when you're old, if your body starts, as you say, your body starts failing, and if you're cashed up at the end of it but your body's fucked, what are you going to do?
Absolutely. And I started freaking out about that a little while ago, where I thought, I can't wait until I don't have to work anymore. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, when's the retirement age? I think it used to be about 50 or 55. I think it's later than that now. And then I thought, 60, 65. What will it be by the time I get to that age? Will be 70. Yep. And then I thought, what the hell am I going to do when I'm 70 years old? Will I even still be here? And so that's when I started to think, I need to change things now and enjoy things along the way instead of slaving. I mean, you can still work hard, but you can work smarter about it.
And that's what it's about. It's working smarter and not necessarily harder. Look, look, when you work for yourself, you do work hard. It's not a bloody picnic. It's not a holiday, because there are friggin' struggles. Sometimes you don't make a buck and you scrub. You're struggling for a buck. And look, good friends, and they help you out. They say, come over for a feed or come over for this, and that gets you through. But that's how it is with certain things.
That's it. And you take the good and the bad, but usually the good outweighs it. And I think as long as you can give yourself a bit of clarity and know that you're not working under somebody else and having to answer for somebody else, or acting a certain way to meet the expectations of an employer, that can be quite grounding if you can bring yourself back to earth and remember those things. That's the thing that drives me. That's the thing that gets me excited, is that they'll get to a point where I don't have to worry about those things anymore, and I can just move ahead and do things on my own accord. I answer for myself, and there's certain expectations that I give myself and certain standards, but I dictate that, and it's nobody else. And I'm not going to get in trouble if I'm 5 minutes late to work, or I just happen to say the wrong thing that goes against a company policy or anything like that.
Exactly right. Exactly. You know, like shit, I want to wear my friggin' Lord t-shirt to work today because I can.
Indeed, everybody should. That's a message to everybody. Grab a shirt from our online store, and I'll send out a little thank you note. And yes, please wear it to work.
That's it. Wear a metal t-shirt to work day.
Yeah,
every day is that day.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's funny how I think people get swept up in the whole work scenario, and people that are late to work, and you could be five minutes late to work, but you're working back an hour, and they never acknowledge you for the extra hour that you work, but they sure as hell let you know when you're 5 minutes late. And it doesn't matter if your output's 10 times better than everybody else that works there. Something very petty and small like that can be quite tarnishing. And so it can be very frustrating.
I used to be quite ruthless working for people, very ruthless. Yes, sometimes I work harder for other people than I did myself, which I can never figure out, which is freaking stupid, really. But I suppose, if they started arcing up on me about being late or anything like that, then I would actually say, I'd literally give it to them. Take no shit from certain people, or from anyone sometimes. And, I've walked out of jobs because just stupid disagreements, like, how bosses sometimes, your job's at risk if you do that, and people buckle and go, I can't lose my job. That's me. I'm fucked if I do.
Even though you're not really. I mean, and I think a lot of people think that they get worried about when they're not happy at work, and they go, well, I can't leave my job because of all these other commitments that I've got that are completely relied upon the job itself. And sometimes I've definitely been thinking about it a lot, where you go, well, what's the worst case scenario? What's the worst possible thing that could happen if I walk into work the next day and the boss turns around and says, you don't have a job anymore? Yeah. What would I do? And would I survive? And then you go, you know what? I would, because you find a way. You go into survival mode. You'll go out there and you'll haul yourself out. You'll hustle to find a new job. Yep. If you need to, you might sell a couple of things, or you pull on favors from family and friends. You find a way, and it's very rare that worst case scenario actually indeed happens.
Absolutely.
So I think when people stop and actually think about that, then it probably calms the situation down a bit.
Yeah. Do you want to buy a t-shirt?
Another ad kicking in.
Here we go, folks. Another ad. But no, you're spot on, and it does. You adapt, you overcome, and you just keep going. And all that sort of thing, everything that you were stressing about, all of a sudden may not be a stress. You think, well, why didn't I do this earlier? I've got this, opportunity now to actually look for a job I actually enjoy or I want to do. The
other thing I was going to ask you about was, this ties in with your bike stuff, is I saw you did the Distinguished Gentleman's Ride.
Yeah, on Sunday. Yeah,
I know that's to raise money for prostate cancer, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, prostate cancer research. Yeah, and what's the general gist of it? Because I've seen quite a bit of publicity on it, but I see the term Dapper get thrown around quite a bit.
Well, the idea started in 2012, I believe, in Sydney, and by a couple of guys or a few guys. Looking dapper, it's basically throwing on some tweed and a bow tie, or a bloody, looking the part, looking old school, dressing up in the tweed, which I didn't have. I've only got leather. Looking the part. So a lot of people will hunt tweed. So I'm a fairly broad across the shoulders, and they don't make tweed for men. They only make it for little fellas, for lads.
Lads.
My sister got me a tweed jacket. I went to put it on. I'm going, yeah, okay. It's like a necktie. It was small. And I'm going, yeah, I could probably use this for a napkin. And so I just bloody threw on a shirt. You can buy the shirt at the merchandise store, by the way, people.
I'll put a link up for everybody.
Yeah. Do you want to buy a kidney?
Yeah. I've only got 2 of them, so I'll have to hold out. The highest bidder.
Yeah, piece of liver.
That's right. I haven't much left of that.
Yeah. So the dapper thing is all about just dress to impress, in a suit or whatever, and it's run around the world, and the goal this year was to raise $3 million for prostate cancer research and development, and awareness of prostate cancer in men. And basically, you do a short ride down here. It was around about 30 Ks, all ride in a big group, and get down there and have a bit of a chat afterwards and just hang out. And it's being part of the motorcycle community. They do a lot of fundraising, not only for the toy runs. They run around Australia for the kids at Christmas time. The bandana rides for canteen, Red Nose Day, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of military clubs are now doing rides to support veterans. And because I don't know if you realise, but this year alone, I think it's something like 17 veterans have committed suicide. And the numbers are actually higher. More veterans have committed suicide than have been killed in definitely from Vietnam onwards. But from Afghanistan, Iraq and all that, more veterans are dying at home from suicide. And the number of homeless veterans as well is huge. It's in the thousands Australia-wide. So a lot of groups like the bike clubs, Mates for Mates, Soldier On, Legacy, and all those other clubs, organisations are basically out there to help the veterans in many ways. It's not just mental illness, physical disabilities, but literally staying alive.
And I guess tying right back to the start, I'm sure it's extremely satisfying and rewarding to be sort of a part of a local club that does a lot of things like that as well.
Look, absolutely, because what a lot of ex-military people struggle with is in civilian life is finding that same work environment they had while you're in the military, because it's your mate beside you's got your back. If you guys got to get, if you got to go to war, like a lot of the kids do now, got to go to Afghanistan or whatever, you need to know that these people are going to, support you all the way if, the shit hits a fan. Now, you don't have that in a normal civilian workplace. Everyone's out to friggin' climb the ladder, and if you're on top, if you're in the way, look out. I'm going to knock you out of the way, backstab you, and do whatever. Yeah, that's in a corporate world and in other jobs as well. So missing that camaraderie, a lot of veterans struggle to work in civilian street. So they'll become a copper, work in prisons, they work in security, or other frontline, like AMBOs or fireys. And organisations like Mates for Mates and all that, they have those of us that may not be working because of inability, mental illness or physical disability, to reconnect as a peer group and just, talk shit about the old days, if you like, and just sort of reminisce and, just a reconnection.
And have that, having that backing or support for each other that you would have had back in the military itself. Yeah,
and it's an understanding, because it's difficult to speak to someone that can't understand. And look, I didn't go overseas and serve, so I was sort of lucky in that regard, but I did want to. But those that served, you can't talk about that, what happened, what you've been through, or what you've had to do to a civilian that has got PTSD from an accident. I had a car accident, I really hurt myself, but it really the actual accident scared me so much that I've got PTSD from it. And I'm not trying to make out like the veterans of the gods or anything like that, because everyone's PTSD is a true horror experience that they've got. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how small it may seem. It's real. It's not fake. It's not bullshit. It's bloody huge to that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they deal with it the best they can.
It's a big thing. It's a thing that sort of, I guess, gets swept under the rug a lot because it's just too hard basket for a lot of people. And if you're the person that's going through it themselves, as you said before, I think you get to a point where you just assume that no one can relate and it's not worth talking about, and you bottle it up, and then it gets to critical mass where things just go horribly wrong.
Look, I helped a veteran just before Christmas last year, so it's coming on to a year now, and he tried to commit suicide. And it was, look, I had my own issues at the time, and I sort of thought, because when you commit to helping someone who's tried to commit suicide, you got to think about it. You've got your own issues that you're dealing with now. What goes through your mind is, can I actually deal with what's happening to him? Can I help him or her through that ordeal they're going through? You've got to sort of, try and swallow what you're going through. Now, what happens is, I'm thinking, geez, okay, helped him. helped him through it. I'm thinking, fuck, if he's successful at doing this, I'm going to blame myself for him doing it because I couldn't prevent it. So all these other thoughts come into your head and into your mind, and you think, shit. But you've got to say, hang on, I can't take ownership for that. If he's successful at committing suicide, it's not because I couldn't prevent it. If they want to do that, they're going to do it. And, not being able to help them is not your fault at any level, And sometimes people take blame for not staying around, or falling asleep or the smallest thing, it's not your fault that the person was successful at trying to do what they did do,
Well, I'm sure in that sort of situation, it's hard to get that perspective at times. But it's still a better decision than just not even bothering to try in the first place.
You've got, and it's like, we have all these days now, and they tend to be friggin' really, we get bombarded on social media with, hey, it's friggin' Purple Nose Day, hey, it's friggin' Red Ass Day. All this all these different days that are out there now, and we see them because of social media, and, like Are You OK Day, and that's what it is, though. It's simple as that. It's just saying, hey, is everything cool, man? Or it's just making that point of contact and them knowing that someone they may not have spoken to for 12 months asks them, are they okay? Is everything cool? Because sometimes you don't know how to speak with them. You don't know what to say. You don't, oh, how's it all going? You're sort of sometimes scared to open up a can of worms on yourself from what, from what they're going through. And it's sort of, it does. You sort of become, do you want to get involved because, fuck, you've got your own shit going on. And a lot of people like that. And that's where sort of a lot of people do sort of move away and keep their distance.
I think a lot of people, and not even in a malicious way, but I think a lot of people are worried and scared to reach out to other people and see if they're all right. Absolutely. And as you said, they're worried that they might get roped into something that they can't control or can't resolve. And
that's it. You don't want to upset them or anything like that. And it is, and that's I think something that we've got to sort of think about generally, in a bigger picture. Like I suppose, it's like don't be scared. Just even that simple text doesn't have to be a phone call, or anything like that. Just is everything cool? I suppose you got to lead him with a question that's not open-ended, that opens up that can of worms. And it's that point of contact. And
that's it.
Look, it happened again the other week. Someone was worried about someone. I'm not gonna, I've got to sort of keep it general. And I went and did a check, and everything was cool, but people were overreacting. But hey, I was prepared to go and do the check. And, I said, no. And again, I'm going to this place. I'm thinking, oh, fuck, oh, shit, oh, crap, man, what am I going to do if they're, non-responsive, blah, blah, blah. So all that goes through your mind as you're going there. But you've got to get rid of that and just move forward and deal with it. And then
that's it. And look, the fact that it was a little bit blown out of proportion, so to speak, is a positive.
It's good. Exactly right.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that people that are listening to this will, or who either know somebody or are going through some difficult times, will at least get a little bit of inspiration, I think, to make some bold moves to either reach out to somebody or try and seek some assistance, or at least even just do a bit of reading or research online and just learn a little bit more about the whole thing. I'm going to put a bunch of links up to all those things that you mentioned and link other people to it, just so there's a bit more awareness around it. Because,
cool,
as I said before, what you do, you've definitely taken a negative situation and you're turning it into a positive by helping other people, by being able to relate to a situation, and that makes a world of difference for a lot of people. So I'm gonna pay it forward and hope that a few more people are able to get that opportunity as well.
Yeah, thanks, man. That's awesome. Hey, and I'm going to try and come to that Melbourne gig at the I think it's the Workman's Club, is it, on the 28th of November?
Perfect plug. You nailed it. I love it.
I'll let you know what my book website is when I've got my book.
Oh, absolutely. Please do.
Book launch. Look, on a serious note, I am planning on doing some public speaking, and it's based on, a lot of what we discussed tonight of how to approach people, being there for them without actually giving your all. Because, look, you've got to protect yourself. It's very important that you protect yourself when you are dealing with people that have mental illness. And that's, and like even with people with us, you've got to look after, number one, so you can actually help other people. And that's true in life, and people can't get pissed off if you take a back step to look after yourself in order to be able to move forward again.
Otherwise, you're just going to have two casualties, not one.
Exactly.
You need,
and everyone's got to be mindful. Look after yourself, and even if it's a matter of getting the guitar out or the drums out and just having a smash, just if that's your therapy, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Live the friggin' dream. I live the dream every day.
Yeah.
So, and actually, Jono just asked when this is going to be aired. I just noticed that was Jono who sent me. Oh, that's a cool picture.
That's Jono from Tabra for anyone who's wondering who the hell Jono is, being a pain in the ass, and you know what he's doing? He's deliberately messaging you so we talk about him. He's a smart guy, I'll tell you what. Yeah. Oh, it's working.
Absolutely. I did a video interview with those guys. Oh, geez, before the album came out.
Yeah.
And it was so bad. It was so freaking. Like, I'm shocker. It is just shocking. I've still got it somewhere on video, and it's just so bad. Far out.
Is that the one where they're in? They did a live video clip as well in that hall.
No,
this is going back a few years. I remember watching that one. They had a little interview with that, and it was pretty humorous.
Oh, this was in their backyard because see what?
Oh, okay.
With a lot of the bands I photograph, I photograph a lot of genres, from bloody country and western right through to heavy and metal, and. So I get to meet a lot of different people from different genres around Australia, around the world, and I always like to develop a friendship, a relationship. And I hang out with a lot of these guys, the local guys, the Tabra boys, I hang out with them as friends. And I haven't for a while because I've been a slack ass, but I form that relationship, of being not just a photographer, being a mate.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helps me to do my job a lot better and actually know mannerisms, know when there's going to be a good shot coming up and all that sort of thing. And, I followed a few bands around for over a year at a time, photographing their gigs, photographing studio stuff, photographing shenanigans behind the scenes, at home, bloody, at parties, stuff that people don't normally see. All the fans, the punters, they see you at the show, doing your music, doing your thing. And if they're lucky, they get to see a bit more afterwards and all that sort of stuff. They get your merch. But having imagery from behind the scenes that's got the shits and giggles, the fun stuff, the human stuff,
It's those candid moments, isn't it?
Look, absolutely. And my intention with all of this was to literally do books of the bands. And it's exposure for the music industry as a general. It's exposure for me, obviously, but exposure for the bands and just the music genre and the people that, you can say, fuck, these things are bloody good fun. These gigs are, there's a lot of work that goes into the gigs that people don't always realise there's literally no money for the bands these days. It opens up another perspective of the whole, whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny when you take a step back and look at the whole thing, but any sort of live show or local gig is such a unique social environment. Yep. It's this hub of activity and interaction between people. And it's not just punters in a band. It's every facet of that venue, from the bar staff to the patrons all interacting together to the band, and it's a hub of activity and energy. And if you've got a great night and a lot of people and everyone seems to be in a reasonably good mood, the weather's half decent as well. Although down in Tasmania you can't rely on the weather too much, so you can overcome that side of it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's right, because it creates that buzz. You go to some gigs and there's no atmosphere, and you feel sorry for the bloody band. You feel sorry for everyone involved, not just the band, but the punters, the bloody sound, the tech guys, the bar staff. Sometimes, and it's no one's fault. It's just friggin' the weather, the rain, the full moon or some shit like that, the blood moon.
Yeah, sometimes it's a fine chemistry mix just to get all the right elements in, and just to make it all work and have that the right energy in for a night of entertainment. And sometimes it can be very hit and miss at times.
Yeah, Meatloaf knows all about that. Fuck yeah. I didn't do anything for love, but he won't do that again.
No. But tish.
It's my meds. They're starting to wear off. I'm starting to get all fucking flippant and weird. happens now and again.
Oh, that's it. Well, that might be the cue to wrap it up then before it gets too crazy.
crazy's good, isn't it? But yeah.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Mate, I'm always here for that bloody. And if anyone out there actually wants to chat, even just inbox and ask me friggin' anything about mental illness and that sort of stuff. I'm not a doctor, but I'll pretend to be. By all means, chuck my Facebook page up and they can add me as a friend or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if once you got your public speaking stuff up and running and book and everything else, let me know and we'll get all those links up as well, because I think a lot of people would be interested. And I know a lot of people personally that have got their demons, so to speak, as you said before, and they've got a lot of battles that they go through on a daily basis and just to try and get through the day. And I think, and I know a lot of them will be listening to this, so I think there'll be quite a few people that'll be very interested to reach out and learn more. So as you continue to evolve and keep going along that path, and all these projects that you work on continue to become a reality, pass them along, and we'll keep getting them out there for everyone.
Sweet, yeah, no, that's good, man. That sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
No, thank you. It was a pleasure. Rock on.
You too, man.
All right.
Take care.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed that. As I said before at the start of the podcast, I will put a number of links through to all of his activities that he's been associated with. There's a lot of cool things that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. And if you're feeling generous from a charitable point of view, I'll put up all these links, and please go and support where you can. As Ricky mentioned in the episode, if you feel like reaching out and contacting him, I'll put some links on the show notes so you can get in touch with him. I think, as you can probably appreciate from the interview, that helping other people does come back to you and helps you. And I've said that before in a previous episode as well. It's the more that we help each other, the better life's going to be. And Ricky's definitely on the right path as far as reaching out to others and being able to do what he can to make life a little bit easier for somebody else who's struggling. And I think it's a great thing. Really remarkable guy, and I look forward to having another chat with him further down the track when he's tried a few more of these different therapy alternative solutions. It's very interesting. As always, iTunes, rate, review, get on my Facebook page, like as much stuff as you can, leave comments, get interactive. Just help me sort of boost this Facebook page up as much as I can. As I mentioned previously, I'm looking to get a YouTube channel up and running. If it's up by now, then get over there and share some links around to people that are more familiar with YouTube than other platforms. And I will just be looking at a whole bunch of other things as well to see if I can just turn this into something that's bigger and better. But look, I really appreciate you guys listening, sticking with it. People who've listened for the first time, hope you enjoyed it. It's just raw conversation, no particular format, and I like to keep it that way. I think it's just conversation is something that's very underrated these days. The art of conversation tends to get neglected quite a bit these days. So this is just a fantastic thing for me, at the very least, but I hope other people enjoy listening in, and there'll be plenty more to come. And that's about it. Another episode coming very soon. Got another very cool guest. And finally, this episode was not brought to you by the Lord's Prayer and other songs of faith, or as has been adjusted, the Lord Prayer and other songs of faith will steal the voice of Andy Dowling, my birthday present from this year from Dave Balfour. And I'll put pictures of this shocking record on my Facebook page in my fake sponsors photo gallery. Get on there and like, and just leave some some ridiculous comments. Maybe you can come up with a few more songs that are keeping in theme with the ones that Dave's created on the back of this record. Anyway, thank you very much, and we'll speak soon. Cheers.